Recently, I made a video asking if you should sell your sports cards as a business or an individual. Today's the second part of that series, and I'm going to ask a bigger question. How do you start a business? If you decided that the business is the best route for you, this is the video for you, and I'm going to show you the easy ways to launch a business professionally as a sports card seller. But first, here's the intro. Alright, so here's starting a small business as a sports card seller. I put together the small presentation, but after we talk through the points, I'm going to do you one better. I'm going to actually show you how to do it. So the first step in starting a business is researching and planning. Seems like it's a quick one to brush off, but it's important to not only do some market research to know who you're selling to, and if you've been selling cards as an individual for a while, you already have a pretty good feel for this. But also come up with a business plan. Figure out how much money you want to invest in the business itself and not just your inventory or your cards. Next up, you want to choose a business structure. You want to be a sole proprietorship, an LLC, a partnership. For a small sports card seller, those are probably the ones that would make the most sense. I'd personally recommend an LLC. That's what I've always done, or an LLP with a partner. But the choice is ultimately up to yours, and don't hesitate to consult a legal expert to get a feel for what makes the most sense in your situation. All the situations are different. All the solutions are going to accordingly be different. Next up, you're going to register your business, and that starts by coming up with a unique business name. Again, you might already have one if you have an eBay store or if you've been using some kind of business umbrella for your sports cards, even if it wasn't a legal business. To do that, you need to register your business name. Typically, that's done through the Secretary of State's office wherever you live, and you can also search the USPTO and other sites to make sure that your name is not already being used. Next up, you want to set up your business finances, and I know this seems like an extra hoop or two to jump through, but it's going to be very valuable when it comes to accounting moving on down the line. First thing you want to do is open a separate checking account. If you want to do a business checking account, depending on the bank that you use, that might be a better option. Sometimes business accounts have a higher monthly fee, but also if you have enough money in there, that usually can get waived. I'd also recommend applying for a business credit card. I personally use travel cards because I travel quite a bit with what I do for work, and travel points are not taxable while cashback typically is. So I haven't paid for a flight in a very long time. If you have a business card dedicated for just buying supplies, cards, and even the licensing paperwork, then you're going to be good to go, and it will easily separate that from the rest of your finances. I'm sure most of us are probably used to doing our accounting on a Google Sheet or something like that, but if you want to download some sort of accounting software, also put that expense on the credit card as well, that is going to be a way to manage your finances a little bit more clean and a little bit more professional to match the overall professionalism you're leaning into with the business itself. Next is sourcing inventory. This is the fun part. This is the part that you've been doing for a while. It's figuring out what you want to sell, buying it, and then preparing to resell it. For the most part, this is not going to really change anything that you have been doing. It's just going to be on a separate credit card, on a separate line item. You're going to have your own T-charts for buying and selling inventory that's unrelated to your personal finances. If you have a storefront, sometimes you can buy wholesale from different manufacturers, but you could just straight up buy on eBay and, Facebook Marketplace or wherever you wanted to. Just make sure that you're keeping record if you pay for anything in cash on Facebook or an in-person transaction. Make note of that so you know your expenses and you know your profit. You also want to create an online presence. You need something like a logo. Whether you're called Mike's Cards or something a little bit more original, you need some kind of cool logo. There's so many, don't tell our graphic designer friends that I said this, but there's so many AI bots out there that make logos that long gone are the days where you need to pay for a logo design, especially for something like selling sports cards. You're not trying to become a Fortune 500 business, you're trying to sell sports cards professionally. Take your ideas to the internet, have ChatGPT mock up some logos for you, pick your favorite, and roll with that. You also need to build a website. Shopify is my personal preference because you can sell on the website itself. They have the best e-commerce of any website builder, and it's usually pretty easy and friendly to understand. Shopify is a little bit more expensive though. I think the basic plan starts at $30 a month if you pay annually. Otherwise, it's $40 a month. Depending on if you want your website to be a sales marketplace, which kind of makes the most sense, or just a glorified business card. The latter option is something you could pick, like a website builder such as Wix. Wix websites. Wix is a lot harder to sell merchandise, but you can pay $8 a month for a website that you can use at least as a hub for your business and get yourself a Google business profile, etc. just through that. If you have questions about Shopify or Wix, comment below and let's talk about it. You also need a marketing and sales strategy, and maybe that strategy is just list cards on eBay as you've always been doing. But if you have a nice website, particularly a website where you have cards for sale, say you have a Shopify website and you're listing your higher end slabs, you could run ads on Facebook and you can target people in sports card groups. It's not that hard to do. It might seem like an unnecessary expense, but bear in mind if you sell something on your own personal website, if you sell a card for $1,000, you're not giving up 12% for a marketplace fee on eBay, so this is a good way to do it. Those expenses easily offset, and probably in your favor. And then finally, launch your business. You could do a marketing campaign to say, hey, we've done it, we're here. You could do a giveaway, you could do all kinds of things. But the final step is just making it official and letting the world know you're a business owner. All right, now I want to go one extra step and show you how to start a business or what it would look like on my end. There's two different types of paperwork that you need. So I'm going to go to the Oklahoma Secretary of State to get started. I live in Oklahoma. It's going to be a little bit different no matter where you're looking. So the first thing I'm going to do, we're going to say I'm going to call it Jesse's Cards. I'll call it Jesse's Sports Cards. So this is a site search to make sure there are no names. There are no results for the criteria, so it just shows that nobody has claimed a business of this name. Most of the sites, so the Oklahoma Secretary of State website looks like it was built in 1992 and has not been touched since. I'm not even joking. It's real rough. Typically, they're going to have something where there's an information page. There's one here that says starting a new business, and it just walks you through the basic process. It does tell you to check out the EIN number, which is something that we're going to do here in a bit. That's through the IRS. Now for registering my business, I'm going to go back here. We're going to click on electronic registration. We're going to do something domestic. And like I suggested, an LLC is probably the safest option. So I'm going to click on domestic limited liability company. Fill in my name, and we are going to download this. It wants me to include the words LLC or the letters LLC at the end. We're going to search that. No results. Click next. Filing date. Specify day. It's just going to be today. Filling in my address. We're going to block out that screen. It asks, all right, so now here's where it gets good. First name, middle name, last name, and then address. I can't emphasize how easy it is to fill out all this stuff. I don't have any attachments I need to add. That would be like articles of organization, something like that. Then you sign it, so I would click add signature and I would click next, and that is all it takes. Basically your name, your address, your birthday, and your signature. And then you pay, if you live in Oklahoma, $99. If you live elsewhere, I think I have a couple buddies that live on the coast that said it's about $150 for them to start a small business, but either way, it's not going to break the bank. One thing I do want to caution you about is if you Google how to start an LLC in Colorado, you're going to get hit with a ton of LegalZoom sponsored ads right here. And they want to charge you $499 or $300 or whatever to guide you through the process. I just showed you how easy the process is. I would encourage you, if you have a good head on your shoulders and want to take this on yourself, you can save a lot of money just by doing it yourself. When I started my first business, I was really concerned about it, but I was doing it as an independent study with a well-known entrepreneurial business professor at my university, and he walked me through it, and he kind of scoffed at the idea of using LegalZoom. And was like, why would you do that? You just have to fill out 2 pages on the internet. So that's the process right there. And then once you're done with that, you need an EIN number and employer. And then once you're done with that, you need an EIN number and employer identification number. And that's going to be a number that you'll submit when you're registering on different marketplaces, such as, Walmart Marketplace or Amazon or wherever you're selling. You'll probably need an EIN number. They're free, so it's not a big deal to sign up for it. It's very low risk. So just Google how to get an EIN number. It'll take you to this page on the IRS website. So I'm going to click apply online right now. And I believe it is 1 or 2 pages. So I'm going to say I am an LLC, Jesse's Sports Cards. It defines what an LLC is. How many members? 1 member. Please select the territory. We're Oklahoma. I missed. Continue. I started a new business. And then you're going to fill out your first name, middle name, last name, your social security number, and then you're going to say you're one of the owners. After that, you enter your address, where you're from, and or where your business is located. Typically, it's going to just be your residence. And then you sign it, and within 8 hours, they email you your EIN number. I think it's almost automatically. I'm thinking that within like half an hour, I got my EIN numbers in the past. And that's it. You own a business. If you're watching this video first, be sure to go watch my last video on this topic to get an understanding for the benefits of selling as a business instead of an individual. And if you came from that video, thank you so much. Be sure to subscribe. We have a lot of other good videos coming soon. See you next time.